A Clásico is a Clásico. Even if it's a friendly, you have to win it. Ivan Rakitic admirably argued ahead of Barcelona and Real Madrid's first meeting on foreign soil for 35 years. Trying to stay on message with the spin his employers and their rivals have used to hype a preseason clash into a bonanza of publicity events in Miami over the weekend designed to leave the world in no uncertain terms as to who are the two biggest clubs in the world. The 65,000 Hard Rock Stadium could have been sold out many times over, with Miami Dolphins owner and International Champions Cup organizer Stephen Russ claiming tickets have been easier to shift than for his NFL franchise. The cheapest tickets still left on the secondary market are fetching $250, with more luxurious packages reaching 10 times that amount. A Miami Herald article this week was titled, "Is El Clásico Miami as big as hosting a Super Bowl? Don't be ridiculous. It's bigger." Double quote, such demand reinforces Madrid and Barcelona's self-belief that for all the Premier League's cash-rich elite, they remain the biggest draw across the planet. But the fact both clubs finally agreed to the fixture at a time they could really do without it reveals the doubts that have been created by the Premier League's record-breaking TV deals. Real have reportedly agreed a fee with Monaco for the French wonderkid that would make him the world's most expensive player. Worth it. Time will tell. The high-profile investigation into his tax affairs threatened to see the reigning Ballon d'Or winner walk away from the Spanish capital. But it appears his mood has calmed and he is staying put. Still a force of nature, Zidane will continue to build his team around him. The Spaniard was sensational down the stretch last term and forced Gareth Bale into settling for a spot on the bench. Should he hit the ground running, it's his spot to lose. Like Modric, Cruz is a master of his craft and remains undroppable. The Croatian remains one of the finest central midfielders in the game and walks into the side despite pressure from numerous other octagonals. The unsung hero of the side, Casemiro, does all the hard work behind the scenes. He has proven key to Real's fortunes since breaking into the first side and has never looked back. The Brazilian showed during Real's run to defending their Champions League crown just how good he still is. A class act. The Frenchman is Ramos' first choice partner, and while he hasn't yet reached his sky-high potential, is still one of the best central defenders around. Like him or loathe him, you simply cannot ignore him. He's not the defender he once was, but should you need a goal in a big moment, Sergio is still so often your man. The Spaniard has cemented his place at right back and is one of the most consistent in his position in the world game. The Costa Rican has held off all comers, namely David De Gea, and has proven himself worthy of the No. 1 jersey. At the Bernabeu, Real Madrid had assembled one of the most star-studded squads in world football. But how will Zinedine Zidane juggle his options? Madrid need to get up to speed quickly and have just 180 minutes of preseason left before they face a daunting 8-day stretch to start their campaign for Real against Manchester United for the UEFA Super Cup and Barca twice more in the Spanish Super Cup. Meanwhile, the saga of Neymar's will he, won't he move to PSG has dominated Barca's tour of the States, not helped by the fact the Brazilian has scored all three of his side's goals in victories over Juventus and PSG. For the first time since Neymar's compatriot Ronaldo left Barca for Inter Milan in 1997, one of Spain's two giants faces the prospect of losing one of its star assets abroad. It is a scenario both clubs had feared could be coming. They just didn't expect the destination could be Paris rather than England. Lola, the president Javier Paz has repeatedly warned the Premier League could become the NBA of football unless Spain's TV contracts begin to close the gap on the billions generated by the appeal of Premier League's competitive balance around the world. But what Lola lacks in inequality of revenue from top to bottom, it makes up for in star power, at least for now. Whilst Cristiano Ronaldo has been Madrid's big miss both on the field in defeats to both Manchester clubs and as a marketing tool off it, Barca have put forward all of their star names for maximum exposure in Miami. Messi and Neymar are just two of the stars Barcelona are heavily using for press events. Getty right parenthesis. Despite the circus surrounding his future, Neymar is due to appear at a Nike event with Vice Presidents Jordi Mester and Manuel Arroyo, whilst Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez and Andres Iniesta are among those that will meet and greet supporters at the Casa Clásico weekend-long fan fest. So far that push appears to be working. Barca have drawn crowds of over 80,000 in New York and Washington, whilst Pep Guardiola described Man City as playing an away game, as Madrid supporters provided the vast majority of a record 93,000 crowd for a football match at Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum as City ran out 4-1 winners on Wednesday. Double quote, Madrid and Barcelona are the more exciting teams in the world, admitted Guardiola. Maybe in the future we can seduce more people to follow us. Double quote, Barca president Josep Maria Bartomeu met with Barack Obama as the former U.S. president was in attendance for the Catalans' clash with United in the country's capital, where the possibility of Barca launching a women's team in the U.S. was discussed. The Clásico's brand appeal means tickets are even on sale at $20 apiece just to watch the teams train on Friday. whilst some of the more bizarre events surrounding the fixture included the UFC Combat Clásico on Thursday, where Madrid and Barca rivalries were played out in the octagon, and the stars of the show on Saturday are even expected to put their hostilities aside for a glamorous after-party on Miami Beach following the game. Both clubs have tried their best to sell the game in Reykjavik's words as a Clásico as usual, but it is no normal occasion, whilst there is far less at stake on the field. The hard sell-off it shows that, however much they hate to admit it, Madrid and Barca need each other to maintain their status as world football superpowers.